Joining us now to talk about today's major developments in Washington, among them the Insurrection Committee, is Congressman Adam Schiff, representing California's 28th District. Mr. Schiff, thank you very much for joining us. You have also been selected to be on that committee to investigate the January 6th insurrection. What do you think about McCarthy's decision to pull all 5 GOP members after those 2 were pulled?
Well, it's tragically predictable. McCarthy opposed a independent commission that would have been evenly divided among Democrats and Republicans. He didn't want the investigation to go forward because Donald Trump didn't want the investigation to go forward. So now that he's trying to scuttle the efforts in the Select Committee doesn't surprise me. It is, I think, deeply disturbing and a disservice to the American people that he's not serious about January 6th and getting to the truth. But we're going to persevere anyway. We have a bipartisan quorum without McCarthy's participation or those that he would appoint. And so we're going to go forward and we're going to make sure that we get all the facts.
All right. A lot happening today in Washington. Also, 50 Senate Republicans today rejecting debate on a bipartisan infrastructure deal. Seemed like it was close, but supporters from both parties say they're hopeful that it can still go through. What do you think is going to happen?
I think there's some chance that the 22 senators, a bipartisan group, will come to agreement on a package. They're not there yet, but I think it was important to force the vote and see, are they serious about this, or are they just kind of stringing things along? It may ultimately be necessary to use a process called reconciliation that can't be filibustered so that we can get a very big infrastructure package that addresses both the physical needs of the country in terms of our roads and highways and broadband, but also human infrastructure like childcare, early childhood education, college affordability. So either way, we need to get the job done, and we're determined to make sure that we do.
Some critics of the president from the Democratic Party and critics in the Senate are saying that there's too much emphasis on bipartisanship, that Democrats should just go for reconciliation whenever possible and forget about trying to work with Republicans. Do you agree with that or no?
Well, President Biden, campaigned on trying to reach a bipartisan agreement, but all he can do is make best efforts. At some point, you have to conclude, okay, the other side isn't willing to do it. In fact, we had a House Republican say in an unguarded moment, what they're really hoping for is 18 months of chaos and gridlock. That view is a prevalent one in the GOP. They think that's their ticket back to the majority. But again, that hurts the country. And I think when President Biden concludes they're not negotiating in good faith anymore, then we need to go through reconciliation and do something bigger, and I think ultimately probably better.
Speaking of big legislation, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, multiple states, of course, passing those restrictive new voting rules. This bill seems more urgent than ever. Do you think it has a chance of passing, and could reconciliation be the answer for that?
I think this is really essential to our democracy that we get this legislation passed. These attacks around the country on voting rights, particularly targeting people of color, are a return to the Jim Crow era. And that's a terrible tragedy, I think, for the country to turn back that way. So we need to pass this legislation to stop those efforts. Reconciliation is probably not a mechanism to get this passed. What we do need is an exception to the filibuster for something as foundational to our democracy as voting rights. So that's what I hope that we're able to achieve.
All right. Representative Adam Schiff from Southern California, thank you again for joining us. We look forward to talking to you again as events proceed.
Thank you.